It's their first night in the feeding clinic, and Jill's about to get her first dose of dumper truck-sized tucker. On the menu for Gillian, an enormous bowl of chilli and some mango for Pud, followed by cheese and biscuits. But the chilli is receiving a frosty reception, and reactions speak louder than words. At least Philippa is tucking into her half-a-bacon sandwich strawberries and fizzy pop with gusto.
I would probably eat this just as a snack while I was preparing. Well, I was thinking about what I was eating for dinner. Now, a tip when you're full is sit up straight, deep breath, count to 10 and start again.
But why do you want to eat more if you're full?
Well, I never know that I'm full.
And it's not just the taste of food that turns Gillian's tiny tum. The noises of eating drive her mad too.
I don't like eating when it's so quiet because I can hear myself as well.
You can hear chewing. You don't like chewing?
As a mum of 3, Philippa can't contain those motherly instincts.
I'll put it down so you can't smell it, right? And don't put your hands up that it's touched it and just chew.
Just had the first meal and I feel really sick. I'm not used to eating in such quietness as well, so it was difficult to hear like chewing, and I didn't like it at all.
I really do think tomorrow's going to be tough. I think tomorrow I might experience hunger for the first time.
With another tough day looming, it's essential Philippa gets a good night's sleep. But she can't just flop into bed. She suffers from weight-induced sleep apnea, which means every bedtime is potentially fatal.
When you've got sleep apnea, your airway collapses in the night. The reason mine does is actually the weight on my airways.
This dangerous condition affects up to 4% of men and 2% of women in the UK. If left untreated, it can lead to heart attacks, irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure and strokes. Sufferers may have to wear a special airway pressure machine at night to control these risks.
One of the first ways that we treat sleep apnea is to encourage our patients to lose as much weight as possible. And in Philippa's case, as she starts to lose the weight, she'll see her sleep apnea improving dramatically.
Day 2 dawns, and Gillian is far from bright and breezy.
I've been sick this morning. I've got a really sore head. I think I've got caffeine withdrawal, so the years of diet drinks are catching up with me, I think.
Meanwhile, Phil is preparing to launch the day's first food attack on Jill, and it's breakfast. So, ready, aim, fry. For Phil, it's a diet pop breakfast. But it's Gillian who's got a problem with her bumper brekkie.
What don't you like about egg yolk?
The texture. I've never liked egg yolk. It spoils a toast.
One key observation I would make about Gillian is that she seems very childlike by her reluctance to try new things, her immature palate and a host of irrational phobias.
Gillian agrees to give the egg a go, but if at first you don't succeed, try.
Don't smell it, just put it in your mouth.
Try.
And that's not even a mouthful, is it? It's just kind of...
It's so silly.
And try again. And she's cracked it.
Just chew it, and the toast will take over.
It was quite tough because the foods that I don't like, but I tried them and I did eat much more than I would usually eat, so I think I've done well in that respect, that I've probably eaten what I would usually eat in a day.
It's been a long liquid-fueled day for Phil, but dinner time brings more solid respite in the form of a small salad and a mini quiche. Oh, and a diet fizzy drink for good measure. And for Gillian, it's heaps of mashed potatoes with pork and apple.
It's been a difficult day for both of us because I normally would have eaten 3 meals by now, and I've actually had 2 drinks and what I would call a snack rather than a meal, because my body's obviously going to be screaming at this point, you know, saying, please feed me, because you normally feed me at regular intervals.
How does it make you feel seeing that?
I could kill you. if I've prepared something with love for somebody that I want to prepare that food for, and then they don't eat any of it, that kind of rejects me and my love, and I've got to find some other way of showing and receiving love other than food.
Love comes from the heart and not the belly.
Exactly.
Being nurses, I think we both care about other people in our lives, like we've gotten lost in the middle of it and forgotten about ourselves, so I think we've gone opposite directions, but our situations are actually very similar, that it's affecting both of our health.
After dinner, whilst looking at some old photos, Gillian opens up to Philippa about the trigger for her eating problems. She traces it back to the premature birth of her second daughter.
So why do you think you did stop eating?
When she was in hospital, you grab what you can when you can because you want to be with them, and then I would miss meals. I've just got into a habit of not eating, and because it's become a habit, I don't recognise hunger anymore. So why would I eat if I'm not hungry?
Well, you'd eat and because you're a role model to your children.
I don't let them off with not eating their dinner. I don't let them off with eating rubbish, so why should I eat it? It's so hypocritical of me, and I've got to lead by example.
Breakfast on day 3 is a slurpalicious surprise for Phil. Yet another fizzy diet drink. While it's cereal and toast for Gillian, or at least that's what it looks like.
It looks like a scraping off the bottom of a foot, a big piece of...
You look at things and kind of look at it in a way that it relates to something that's unappetising and isn't pleasant.
It wouldn't be so bad if it didn't have milk in it, I think.
Gillian's dislike of most calcium-rich foods means she rarely eats them, which throws up major concerns about the health of her bones.
I think this puts her at a real risk of osteoporosis, so I'm sending her for a bone scan to see if my concerns are justified.
I'm here for the bone density scan. I'm really scared. What if I have it? You know, I don't know if I want the answers. If I do have osteoporosis and the results are positive, I'll be absolutely devastated because I'm only 24, and to know that I've been doing that to my body for so long, it's quite scary.
To keep your bones healthy, you should ensure you include calcium-rich foods such as milk and dairy products in your diet. Other good sources of calcium are green veg such as broccoli and curly kale, whole canned fish with soft bones like sardines, and nuts, especially almonds and Brazil nuts. The potential consequences of Gillian's gross undereating are shocking, and Dr. Jessen hopes in forcing her to face them, she'll begin to see the realities of her terrible diet.
Come on here and have a look at these pictures that I've done. Those ribs are very, very, very prominent. There's nothing covering them at all. And your tummy and your hip, I mean, there's nothing there. I want to draw attention to this region down here, OK? Your pelvic region. And I know you haven't had a period for 18 months, have you? Why?
Because I'm too thin.
Because you're too thin, because you're underweight. Your body has shut itself down in alarm that it's starving and it will not waste blood through a period. That's frightening. Come on, isn't it?
Definitely.
A healthy body should have around 22% body fat. The body's fat cells release estrogen and other hormones which stimulate and control the menstrual cycle. A body with less than this will soon have too few fat cells, which could lead to infertility.
I never realised you could see the spine.
It's so prominent because there's nothing covering it.
This skeletal, it's horrible.
I sent you for a bone scan. Now your spine is okay. Your hips are absolutely not okay. Your hip bones are similar to about a 60-year-old lady's hip bones.
It's quite thin, actually.
60-year-old lady.
Even though I knew the likelihood was my bones would be bad, you know, you had naivety that it won't happen to me, blah, blah, blah. And it's a definite shock.
What's scaring you most?
Just that I have the hips of a 60-year-old that's older than my mum, that's older than my dad, you know. And it's like 5 years' time, if I carried on, what would it be like? I can't believe I've done that to myself. I want to be there for my kids growing up, so I've got to change.